Hello, wonderful 12th grade AP Lit and Comp students. My name is Miss Pesqueta, and I will be your educational instructor this coming year. And I want to really apologize for my inability to be here with you today. I had an outstanding appointment that I could not cancel, and it could not have happened at a worse time. So, my apologies. I will be here on the next B-Day, I guess it is, that that I'm missing here. So I guess I'll see you Thursday in class. I wanted to get started today talking about just an overview of what AP Lit and Comp looks like and kind of what we're going to be doing. I believe in structure and routines. So we will start out every day with a warm-up, pleasantry, bell ringer type thing. I try to keep these relevant to the content to some degree, so that we'll do things like speed drills to try to increase that sense of urgency when you're test taking. You know, you only have a limited time to do the test in May, so we want to really practice increasing the speed. So we'll have lots of opportunities to write. Sometimes we'll watch a little video, do some little quick something for the first 10 minutes or so. And then we'll jump into content. There will be a lot of writing, of course. And the reading that we do, there's a couple of novels we're going to do, but mostly it's passage analysis and shorter pieces. There's going to be a poetry section where we dive into that and unpack all the wonderful things that poetry has to offer, right? I'm sure that's everybody's favorite, right? Poetry? Maybe not, but for some people, yes. Definitely, you know, it grows on you. You just have to meet the right poem, and then it all comes together. So we will get started with all of that. I've got a wonderful piece of writing for you to begin reading in my absence. When we come back together on Thursday, I will be doing some activities with you. We're going to break out into 5 groups and do some questions over that piece of reading. So it's super important that you actually read it. I tried to pick something that I thought would be really engaging for you, that you might like. So I took out the piece that was there and substituted this new one in. It's by Junot Díaz. I'm sure maybe some of you are familiar with him. He wrote The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde back. Some people may have read that their 9th or 10th grade year. The excerpt that I took for our first reading here is from a short story called Drown. Our unit this first few weeks is going to be over short stories and how to do reading and analysis of short stories. So we're just leading with that one. So it's called Fiesta. And, you know, I think it's got a lot in it that you can connect with and identify with. So yeah, that's the first thing that we're going to read. And we'll see that on your platform, the story. And I think I may have posted a preview of the 5 questions that we're going to be working on Thursday. We'll have a little bit more conversation about the design of the class. And a little bit more information about me, because, you know, we all need to get to know each other, and it's going to be an exciting year. So I want to start by reading you a story today, just an inspirational, let's just get things started, you know, story. So here we go. I'm going to read this to you. And if we were in class together today, I'd still be reading it to you. So here we go. This story is by Kate DiCamillo. Kate DiCamillo. And this essay appeared in a publication back in 2002. So, it's a little older story, but I hope it resonates with you in some profound ways. It'll be a good, getting started kind of thing. So here we go. Story time. I grew up in a small town in Florida. I spent a good portion of my childhood digging. I don't know now what I was digging for. And even then, if I had been questioned closely, I probably would have been at a loss to articulate exactly, what it was I was hoping to find through all that digging. But whatever it was, I looked for it assiduously. I had my own shovel. And every day I dug. At the time of this story, I was 8 years old, and it was summertime, and my digging mania was at its apex. One day, under the huge magnolia tree in our backyard, I unearthed a rock. It was a white rock, worn smooth by time, and there was an indentation in the center of it that seemed to have been designed specifically for the human thumb. I put my thumb into this hollow and took my thumb out, and I felt certain that somebody, maybe many other people perhaps, had done the same thing before me. I was moved in a way that I could not explain, at least not to myself, probably not to anyone else either. All I knew was that I had found something very special. I took the rock inside and showed it to an expert, my older rock collecting brother. "Look," I said, holding it out to him, "I have found a very ancient rock." Ancient seemed like exactly the right word to describe this accurately, respectful, and at the same time implying a great mystery. My brother looked up from his magazine. "Let me see," he said. I handed him the rock. He turned it over in his hand once, twice, and then he handed it back to me. "That's not ancient," he said. "That's not even a rock." "Well, what is it then?" I asked. "A bone?" "Do you think maybe it's a special kind of bone?" I said. "No." He opened up his magazine. "I don't." "Oh," I said, but I was not convinced. I took this bone next door and I showed it to my friend Beverly Pagoda. "Look," I told her, "I have found an ancient magical bone." Now remember, we're 8 years old, and Beverly Pagoda was a little bit older, though, than the rest of us, and maybe she was 10. And her mother, well, she, in a way that mothers referred to as a mistake, along with term consequences, I allowed her to wear makeup, is what her mom would say. And so Beverly Pagoda had purple lipstick, white go-go boots, and a gold fringed tassel. I was forever trying to impress her because she was so cool and her mom was so cool. I had yet to succeed in convincing my mother to let me wear any of these things. "A magical bone," Beverly Pagoda said with disdain, but she opened up the screen door and stepped outside. She had on the same purple lipstick and purple fingernail polish. My heart clenched in jealousy. "Yes," I said, "magical." And then, in a desperate leap born of imagination, because mine was always working overtime, and belief that sometimes, magic could be happening and that this bone really was special, maybe. And desire. I had desire too, to impress the sophisticated and very fancy, bougie Beverly Pagoda. So I said, it makes wishes come true. Right, said Beverly Pagoda. I'm sure. Really, I said. Here. I held out the bone. She took it from me. Put your thumb in that hole and make a wish out loud, and your wish will come true, I said. Oh, please, said Beverly. But she put her thumb in the hollow, and with her eyes wide open, staring straight at me, she said, I wish for a pony. She blinked her eyes, and then she made a big production of turning her head, whoop, and first to the right, and then to the left, and then she looked around like all over the place. She was looking in the yard, she was looking in the hills, she was looking up and down and all over. And with a sarcastic flourish, she turned and looked behind her, peering into the pagoda carport. Like, where's that pony that I just wished for, magic girl? Gee, she said, that's funny. I don't see a pony. Give it back, I said. Oh, she said, smirking, handing me the bone. I guess it only works for you. Yes, I said, it will work for me. And I believed it. This might be a good place to pause and think about the power of manifestation, or the power of wishing things into being. Kind of ask yourself for a second, do you believe that? Do you believe that that's possible? The power of intention and all of that. Something to think about. All right, let's continue. It was summertime. I was 8 years old. My heart was small. And it was like a motor inside me, humming and whirling and eager to prove itself. I had faith, desperation. I believed in magic. I don't know if all 8-year-olds do, but watch, I said. I held out the bone in my hand. I put my thumb where it seemed to belong, and I closed my eyes. I wish for a pony, I said. Wow, I kept my eyes closed for a second. I listened to my heart beating, the crickets chirping in the bushes and tall grass, and I waited. And when I opened my eyes, I looked past Beverly Pagoda, down the hill to where our street dead-ended, into an orange grove and honeysuckle vines and all this overgrowth and foresty stuff. What's that? I said to Beverly. What? She said. That, I said. There. Where? There, I said, and I pointed at the pony that was walking out of the orange groves towards us. A pony, whispered Beverly, and then she shouted, a pony! A pony! She ran down the hill screaming and whooping. I followed behind her more slowly, holding the bone in my hand, actually stunned, shocked, amazed, all powerful. I had called a pony into being. I had finally impressed Beverly Pagoda. You know, this is a true story. And you can ask my mother, because she heard this story, and she heard the screaming too. And she came outside, wiping her hands on her green and white checked dish towel. And she said, oh my gosh, it's a pony. She went outside to get the camera. When she came back inside, came back outside, she took a picture. And this picture of me sitting on the pony's back, I still have it. And what is in the picture and what is not sums up most of what I know about the writing process. You didn't know we were going to come to that. This is a story about writing. First, let's talk about the things that are not visible. The unseen things standing outside that photograph, outside of the square of light that was right there. One of the things is the man from the Penny Arcade, the Penny Family Amusement Troupe. He was there standing with his hat in his hands, waiting to take the pony, whose name was Sir Alfred, back to the carnival from which he had escaped. This is a true story, right? Also, we have to also consider that Beverly Pagoda is not in the picture either. She was standing to the right of the guy, the Penny Family Amusement Troupe man, and her arms were crossed and her lower purple lip was sticking out, and she was working herself up into a considerable fit of rage. The bone, after all, had not worked for her, but it had worked for me. So the third thing that you cannot see in this picture is the bone itself. It was there, curled up in my right fist, resting in my sweaty palm. It would never work again. It never did work again. But, you know, all of the things that you can see, you know, in that picture, well, there was me on a pony, triumphant, powerful. You know, it didn't matter to me that Beverly Pagoda was upset or angry or whatever she was feeling. And it did not matter that I knew already that the bone would probably never work again. What mattered at that moment, or since somehow, is that through this sheer audacity, through dumb luck, through willpower, through instinct, through defiance, through faith, through something unknowable, inexplicable, magical, I had conjured up something from nothing. And that is what writing is. Writing is conjuring up something from nothing. There is always somebody who will tell you that you cannot. That, you know, like Beverly Pagoda, she was my person who told me that I would fail and that my magic would not work. You know, there's always that person in your life that's going to give you that message. You know, someone who's going to make you doubt yourself. You know, and the world around you. You know, the man from the circus carnival will always be in the shape of editors or critics or teachers, and the reading public and our family or some prize committee or something. You know, they come to claim the story because it's never really yours. But when it works, none of that matters. When you find something like a word or a phrase, a name, or in this case, a bone, and it's worth wishing on, and when you believe in the magic of that thing close to your eyes, and you wish on it, and then suddenly, where there was nothing, like in this case, just foresty stuff and an orange grove and a street that ended into nowhere, where there was nothing, suddenly there rises a story. There comes a pony walking out of that forest, and it's real, it's alive. Well, you know, there's nothing better in this world than seeing that happen. So part of writing is what is called being at your station, showing up daily for the work, in spite of your moods or how you feel or your health or your doubts or your belief that, none of it's ever going to come together, or you're not a good writer, or you have nothing to say. You can't focus on that, because perched somewhere in your mind, you're going to find the thing you're looking for. It will manifest. It will appear in spite of everything. So part of writing is paying attention to the world around you, listening to everybody's story. The gas station attendant, like we still have that, his story of his wife's betrayal, or the sound of the screen door at the laundromat, or the sound of the air conditioner as it's blowing in the night, or the moon, how it sets and rises and what phase it's in. And you will find reference to this need to pay attention in everywhere. Your teachers will give it to you, writing manuals will give it to you. Everybody's got suggestions about how to pay attention to things and to come up with ideas. But part of writing is understanding the story, that the narration and dialogue and transitions and all of the basics of writing go together with grammar and structure and syntax of building the sentences correctly. And then at the end, you've got a bunch of words that really do something more. They aren't just words anymore. They're not just something you put on a keyboard. What you will not find in any instruction on how to write is a discussion of the central mystery of the whole thing, the whole understanding, an acknowledgement that writing is really some powerful amalgam, a potent stew of ego and defiance and desperation and magic and faith. It is a pony walking up a hill out of an orange grove. It is a bone, the weight of it in your hand, the feel of your thumb in its groove. It is the knowledge that you hold in your hand something special. It is a wish that comes true against all odds, and it is something that we never fully understand. Okay, that's it. Your writing assignment is on your platform. And the rest of your assignments for today, I look forward to seeing y'all Wednesday. Bye.